So obviously this is your first time at Comic-Con for How I Met Your Mother. What's it been like, the fan reaction, just getting a sense of it all?
It's been a dream. It's been really cool. We don't get to we don't shoot in front of a live audience, so like we spend most of our lives either in an office writing the show or on a little soundstage shooting it. It's nice being able to. You forget that the rest of the world is seeing this work that we're doing, and then we come here, and it's just been amazing that there's people that care about the show as much as we do. It's really, really gratifying.
The fans were lined up like overnight around the block, like it was, tickets to like a Zeppelin reunion or something, and it was just the coolest thing ever. People were tweeting us photos of staying all night, and just like, season 9 is a thank you to the fans. Season 9 is like, we're inviting the fans to this wedding and to this ending of the series, and we love them so much. They've stuck with us for so many years, but we don't get to see the fans that often because mostly just me and Carter like laughing at each other's jokes. Like, that seems funny, let's shoot that. So we don't get to experience that directly that often, and to see that today was really beautiful. I think for the actors too. It was a lot of love. It was awesome.
And I want to talk a little bit about this wedding weekend format. What was kind of you touched on this a little bit in the panel, but what was the inspiration for this, and how did that idea kind of come about?
There was a practical element to it, which is that it felt like Ted needs to meet the mother in May of 2013. We've called our shot, and we're not going to change that. But as is often the case, out of a practical concern, like something cool can be born, and this the idea of telling our story in a different way, of telling it all over the course of these 56 hours leading up to the wedding. With our show, we can flash back, we can flash forward. We have a lot of these devices at our fingertips, and it sort of felt like a really great challenge for season 9 to find a new way to tell the stories on the show.
Yeah, everyone says like, oh, you're doing 24, and it's kind of like we're actually kind of doing 72 because it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
And then also it's even more of a cheat than that because we can flash forward and flash back and fantasy and do all the How I Met Your Mother bag of tricks that we do. So while it sounds like a high degree of difficulty and it sounds like, oh, is that going to be claustrophobic? We can actually kind of still do whatever the hell we want. It still feels like a How I Met Your Mother season. But the opening line of narration of the season basically says, kids, Barney and Robin's wedding weekend was the most important weekend of our lives. And that's true. It's the biggest moment for all of these people, for all 5 of them. It's the biggest moment of their lives. Ted doesn't know it's going to be the biggest moment of his life when he's headed out to Farhampton, but it's going to be. We know it's going to be. So it felt important enough to tell a story that way. There's enough story to tell in that weekend, and that was the inspiration for it, yeah.
And obviously there are any number of things that can go wrong with a wedding weekend, but what would have been some of the...
This one goes pretty smoothly, not much goes wrong.
Yeah.
But what are some of the challenges of kind of working within this time frame and making sure that you hit all of the beats that you need to hit before closing things out?
Well, really the biggest challenge is fitting it all in, to be honest. Like, because there's a lot of stuff we still want to do with the show. There's things like the final slap, and we have. There's just like there's a great rehearsal dinner episode. There's the ceremony will be a great episode. Like there's it's really like by far. This has been the season that by far there have been more ideas for than at this. If you would ask us July last year or the July before that, like this is the year that we really. It's just a matter of fitting everything in. Like we have kind of too much material right now and 24 episodes.
I think the greatest fear is the day after we wrap the series forever. You go, oh my God, we didn't get that one in. You have some new idea, so we have a document that's like. Crap, we got to pay off before we're done because we have a lot of setups and payoffs in this series, and the fans really keep us honest on them and keep track of them. So we're going to try to get to everything everyone wants to see in 24 episodes set in 3 days.
And speaking of things we want to see, one of my personal things is I'm always curious about the Ted and Robin relationship. That's obviously still needs a little bit of closure. Can you talk a bit about how we might see that play into it?
That's without giving anything away. I mean, that's obviously a part of this. I mean, we can't. It would be remiss for us to pretend that Ted's over Robin and she's going to. He's going to the wedding of the girl he was once in love with and his best friend. I mean, that obviously there's a lot of material there, and also there's this story with the locket that we've kind of set up at the end of last year. We're gonna get to that this season. Yeah, it's. I mean, that. It really is as much of a struggle as it's been for Ted, and there's certainly been many ups and downs over 8 years of this back and forth. This is the weekend he has to really let it go, and it's also the weekend that once he's let it go, he's gonna find the thing he's always wanted. So it's exciting. There's a good, exciting kind of climax to the whole thing that we're very excited about.
It's so cool that we know it's going to work out for Ted. He just has to wait this a little bit longer. Like in our lives, we don't know that we're about to meet the love of our life. We don't know what's around the corner, even like 2 days around the corner. It's kind of cool and comforting in a way to know that Ted's that close to finding what he's been looking for, but he's got to get through this last little rough patch to get there and let go. Like Carter said, it's a season about letting certain things go in order to open other doors and move on to the next chapter. So it's very, very wistful for us as we write it, because it feels very real. It's an ending and a beginning.
And speaking of the next chapter, also we know about Kristen Milioti playing the mother. Can you talk a bit about her involvement with the show? I know you said that she'll be appearing throughout the season, but can you give any hints at all as to how she'll be?
I mean, we don't want to say how much she appears and exactly how and when, but you'll see her in the premiere, and someone on the How I Met Your Mother cast will meet the mother in the season premiere, and there's a really cool sequence where we see one of our characters with the mother. I don't want to say who, but let's just say that Kristen already has great chemistry with at least 1/5 of our cast, and it was one of the coolest scenes in our season premiere to shoot. So,
and also just the thing that we don't want to do and that we're not going to do is the whole like, oh Ted, you just missed it. There was just a second ago. There's this girl. Like it's not just going to be near misses. Like we're going to get to know this. I mean, the purpose for us of doing this season really is largely meeting the mother and getting to know who she is, and getting to know who she is to Ted and who Ted is to her, and all of these things are questions we're going to answer this season. It's going to be beyond just she's walking by in the background as Ted's lamenting not finding anyone.
Great.
We only do that like 15 times.
Yeah.
Max.